Howdy, everybody. Commander Halflop, Tom, you guys know who I am. I am going to do some more exobiology, uh, and I'm going to talk a little bit. And after I'm done talking, you're going to give up the names of all the people that you've been speaking to about who I am, so that I can help the Territorial Commission piece together what the hell they need to do to keep me from getting murdered. Should I be provided with political asylum or sent back to the States? Um, so for all of you who were not aware, and I made clear right at the end of the Nain logs that I had a very particular political situation that I'm currently dealing with. I know that this game does not support people making use of this vehicle or this intellectual property as a political vehicle. So I'm going to make clear that I'm not doing such a thing. I'm speaking to you as like a human being who is currently playing this video game because I enjoy the video game. And I have no angle whatsoever at all with regard to the current European discourses on immigration, legal and illegal migration, political asylum status, and political asylum and refugee status, and the conditions of such. I can only speak with any real knowledge, and even then, my minor or rather minimal knowledge about the American situation, and that's just because I'm an American, and they're doing some crazy stuff over there that I've been told about. Obviously, I've been unable to take part in any of those activities, uh, either protest, indifference, or voluntarily working with the Department of Homeland Security to ensure that illegal migrants, migrants who have trafficked themselves or have been trafficked over to the United States, are returned safely home or to places where they would be a little bit safer or a little bit more convenient to the United States than the United States itself. I do know that here in the EU, based on what I've read and based on the strangeness of discussing such a matter with people who I've met over the course of my year and a half in Italy, first on the Sorrento Peninsula and then here in Naples. Naples, Italy, by the way, not Naples, Florida, which apparently is like one of those places that exists for no real reason other than to confuse people about people's whereabouts. Um, and hello to everybody that I met again in Sorrento. I hope your lives are going to be great, and I expect that they will be, as long as you don't repeat the mistakes that everybody has made in the lead up to my having to request political asylum here in the EU. Beyond that, I am well aware of the degree of political sensitivity uh, that a person and a group of people have to deal with when dealing with the concept and the idea and the realities of political asylum. The reason I say that I'm well aware of that is because I'm living it right now. So, being someone who doesn't study migration, because again, not even in the least bit intellectually stimulating to me at all. And if anything, uh, being with the training that I've done to do ethnographic work, enraging in the least, um, or rather at the very least. Um, so, again, there are plenty of opinions on the matter right now. There are a lot of people who have uh, known, befriended, married, um, been birthed by, and fathered by um, people who have migrated either legally or illegally, and who have been confronted by the situation. And it is not my place to give any moral statement on what the reality is, any moral judgments on the reality of a political situation that produces a particular reality in which someone has to remain in a given place in spite of every other matter that their lives have to attend to, rather than being able to take 15 steps forward uh, and then be escaping that, or even that those differences exist. And that's not what the stream is about. The stream is literally just about giving enough information so that everyone can assert their particular position in the realities that I've endured over the past year and a half, and exert an extreme and undue amount of pressure on anyone that would be speaking from a position of authority without having such authority about they themselves or me. Um, Essentially, I'm going to be providing information so that you can place everybody into the equivalent of Serenity Harbor, um, because that's what situations call for sometimes. That is indeed a reference to the story of the tragedy of John Tyburn, um, which I mean, clearly I'm on the side of producing, depending on conditions, um, which seems like an awful thing to say and to think about. Again, I haven't planned a lot of this out. Uh, I'm only having to deal with the reality that I am who I am under the particular conditions. Uh, and I have a very particular political situation that has zero to do with my interest in this game, zero to do with the art that I've been creating about this game, but for some strange reason has never found itself um, disentailed from that without simultaneously being disentailed from my labor, which speaks a lot more to some people really, really failing at their jobs with a degree of sublime horror at the permutations and ramifications of their actions um, than anything else. Uh, this is going to be extemporaneous. I'm going to be going back and forth from topic to topic probably as I wait for something to happen in this game that's going to catch my interest. Um, and also for a very particular reality to play itself out. Uh, so, as some of you have been made aware of, and most of you should have been made aware of, uh, in the positive as opposed to in the inverse, at one point I was a member of Navy intelligence. It was a very short stint, uh, and there were particular matters of enlisting as a member of Navy intelligence that I can't talk about a lot and make me particularly nervous when people begin to ask questions about in a very particular manner and begin to make assumptions about in a very particular manner that creates a very particular political outcome. And those things are prevalent and um, there's a better word for that. Endemic. No, that's not the right word. Uh, Prevalent is a decent enough word. Uh, so I don't know if you know anything about intelligence. And I don't mean like intellect. I just mean like the act of spycraft and the act of military intelligence, which is a very, very different thing than spycraft. Although at the same time, it's sort of like spycraft to a certain extent. Uh, so what it is it's a form of knowledge production. It's very, very rudimentary. It's about where I should be in terms of my academic and scholarly development. And I should be able to do this really well because I've only got a BA. So all this doctor stuff, I don't know where that came from. That's ludicrous nonsense. Um, Nonetheless, it's a form of knowledge production. The whole job is to take information, raw or previously produced, and to analyze it based on information that you're receiving. As you might very well have figured out recently, or through the reading of the Nain logs, uh, it's not uncommon. Uh, it's not an uncommon thing to know about, and it is not an uncommon thing for people to discuss and make fictions about. Now, in case you didn't realize this, hot scoop, um, there is a reality involved with me doing this story while also being a member of Navy intelligence or on my way out. And that reality is that I'm using information about what the job is that is available to you, by the way, uh, in innumerable books, on Wikipedia, uh, on websites, and you can probably talk to members of previous intelligence communities, um, and you can use that information to conceive of stories uh, and fictional scenarios. Now that's what I did. Now, if you all recall from the name logs, uh, Novus Ordo Siderum, Novus Ordo Siderum, is in fact uh, an organization that is, at least in what these girls are doing, that works in the field of intelligence and information. Uh, I mean, in game terms and in like uh, diegetic terms, they're a bunch of weirdos who believe a weird thing about space. Um, but beyond that, uh, it's about the two operatives. So I'm using things that I learned about uh, in uh, in training, not necessarily, uh, not at all classified stuff, not at all classified methods at all, um, and in my academic studies, namely school and learning how to produce knowledge, like anything that requires you to use your brain uh, in order to produce more information from information that you currently have. Like that's not a big thing. Um, and I made a spy story about it. So my big concern when it comes to the gaming community, and this one in particular, because there's so many future leaders in this gaming community, like a lot of them, so many future leaders. Um, if you catch my drift, uh, showing excellent leadership. If you catch my drift, um, is that some idiot might get the wrong idea, uh, and that has been a major concern. I want to assure everybody that I do not mean the community any harm, uh, excluding all the harm that I do mean the community. Other than all that, you guys are fine. I understand the realities of uh, being on the internet and playing video games and chatting uh, and making jokes and finding things out about people. That's a reality that we all have to put up with. It's a particularly difficult one for myself because of my own situation. Beyond that, you guys are good. You're fine. Hey, what's up, buddy? I mean, you're kind of dumb all around, but like beyond the fact that you're all just sort of dumb people. Uh, what's going on with this dude? Wait, that's not the right one. Where you going? Wait, no, that's not the right one. Beyond the fact that you're all sort of dumb, uh, you're fine. You're here to play a video game. That's why I came here, to be perfectly honest. I played a video game and wrote a story to get away from all this shit back here. Unfortunately for me, and this is particular. I want to say that it's exclusive to me. It's probably not. It's probably not at all. Uh, due to the realities of my own continued existence under conditions that I have never consented to. There is a very particular reality that gets produced and developed and then mobilized, and possibly accelerated uh, by some people who fucking shouldn't be doing what they're doing. For, I mean, not to norm the whole situation, but I mean, really, they probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing. Nonetheless, I happen to be in a weird situation because I am an American. I'm a former Navy intelligence specialist, and I am now requesting political asylum here in the EU. It's weird. It's hard to explain. I've tried to explain it to a lot of people, uh, and it's been very, very difficult for me to do so. Namely because I can't talk about a lot of the things that I have to deal with that would be requiring me to do something so bold as to request political asylum from America. Um, so there's, well, you might suspect that I'm a criminal or I've murdered 8 different people. I didn't do any of that stuff. I've never murdered anybody, as far as I know. I've never murdered anybody. I don't have any intention to commit a murder at the present moment. That would be a ridiculous and ludicrous thing for me to do, and then request political asylum for. I've never committed any major felonies or any crimes, contrary to possible belief. One that is beyond enraging to me. Uh, and I didn't do any state crimes. I didn't like kill anybody for the government. I'm not like an assassin or anything. I honestly thought that's what intelligence was when I enlisted. I thought it was going to be a cool job, but it is not. It is a pretty nerd-ass job. For all of you in the enlisted who happen to know anything about it, or don't know anything about it, it's a bit of a nerd-ass job, particularly in the Navy. You don't do anything uh, but look at shit, read shit, uh, and then tell people shit about shit. We don't get to make decisions. We don't tell people what to do unless they're like junior enlisted, and even then it's by command of a commanding officer. Any of that shit. Uh, all the shit that we do is fucking nothing, uh, other than provide people with the information they need, which is exactly what I'm doing for you here right now. So again, uh, at one point I was a member of naval intelligence. At one point I was also a person of relative interest to a group of political researchers, apparently, as word on the streets is telling people, uh, who have found it their goal to make it clear that certain things have to be certain ways in order to produce particular outcomes, which seems particularly, um, how do I put this, inappropriate to be doing to a member of Navy intelligence without giving him the actual commands. One might surmise it's probably a poor way to do things and administer. And that one would be me. Uh, and I also, at one point, was like a former musician, or was a musician, uh, and a working musician. And I apparently, unbeknownst to many, uh, did all the music for the Nain logs over the past 2 years, or rather over that last year's, that stretch of 3309. People do things a lot. People do a lot of things over the course of their lives, and I'm just one of those guys who have done a lot of things for no real good reason other than just to do them. Because why not? As is wont to be quoted. Um, so, those things are a reality. Uh, I am not entirely uncomfortable making it clear to people that I am who I am, and that's who I am. And all of the, I assume, protection protocols that are in place to protect refugees and people that are fleeing looking for political asylum are in place in their own way, um, and that require me to do certain things. I haven't been told any of these things, so I have no reason to believe that I should be doing things based on this, that, and the other. Um, because I generally leave that job to the people that do that job to inform them to do that. That being the case, uh, under my particular scenario, it's particularly six to half a dozen. If you're unfamiliar with the phrase, six to half a dozen uh, essentially takes note of the reality that those are the same thing. It's all the same. Any of the efforts that I could be making at this point under my particular conditions um, would not necessarily be conducive to producing the results in terms of secrecy and um, concealment of my whereabouts and identity due to the particular realities of who I was before any of you guys knew who I was, or any of you guys thought you knew who I was. Um, and again, my name is not actually Fistides Creatij. That's a long-running joke, and still some of my best work, I must point out, um, that I produced based on the myriad insults uh, that I'd endured while training for the enlisted and as a member of my own home community's enlisted community, um, who was also probably known to folks out in Detroit uh, for the same. Um, that's just a reality of the situation, man. People talk shit, and when that shit reached a point where it, I think it's called social saturation. Um, uh, when that shit got saturated, I just decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to run with that. So I created that. That's not a real thing. The only way you would have heard about that in a condition where it would have been real to you is one, if you are trafficking in word on the street, which is useful to me for you to do so, uh, beyond anything you would ever believe. Uh, and two, if you had been instructed by authorities uh, to believe something to be the case. Because I won't tell you who it was I communicated that to. But I will tell you that I did make it public. And I made it public for that particular reason. Because it is particularly useful to me for me to figure out who in God's name and by what fresh hell uh, they believed that they could do what they decided to do with regard to simply making it clear that I wasn't who I was, as though it were a matter of fact, under conditions in which my being a person of relative interest to the government as a Navy intelligence specialist would require them to know exactly who the fuck I am and where the fuck I am at any given fucking point in time, so that they themselves can say, no, he's not that guy, because we don't want that guy to be exposed to whoever the fuck is looking for that information. Pay the fuck attention. So, this CDSQ TJ is not who I am. That's probably one of my greatest. Because I am Kuya TJ to some people. Because I'm Filipino. In the Filipino community, the word Kuya is a term of respect for an elder male who is sort of like a brother figure. In case you didn't know that, uh, the name Fistudes is a very, very, very literal phonemic translation of what anybody who knows me would have told you about who I am when trying to identify me amongst others. Um, on a wall, a cell phone picture, a Facebook page, or any other means by which one can identify somebody by their face, but not be able to walk up to somebody and say, hey, you are that guy. Uh, one would say, this dude. basically a TJ. I hope that didn't not make sense to you up until this point, because I know that some of you are dumb. But to have been provided that information and not have figured that one out soon enough would be indicative of a very, very significant and far more concerning issue regarding your cognitive capabilities. I'm also not Tommaso Giovanni of the city of Toronto. While that is quite possibly one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life, also not true. Also not true. I happen to have a name. And that name translates very strangely in Italian. When I got here to Italy, I was told that eventually I will have to work. That makes sense. People generally have to work. I would like to do that. A lot, actually. And because of that, I have to speak Italian. And at the present moment, I don't speak Italian, nor do I really want to learn to speak Italian for reasons that I will not share at this particular moment. Nonetheless, I had to make use of my resume. And again, this plays right into the reality of the concealment of the political asylum applicant and the realities of having to look for a job under those conditions, where it becomes sort of a 6 to half a dozen issue. So my name translates to something very, very funny, in the sense that it translates and then does not. Whether or not you have any reason to believe that is of no concern to me. The reason being is that if you have any interest in proclaiming something to be the case or not to be the case without the information you would need, which is that it is indeed my real name, then I have every right to defend myself, my property, and my person against your agitations and your angles and your decision to make use of your whatever authority you think you might have to proclaim something to be the case or not. Game recognized game. Actually, I'm going to take a break and play some music. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to play some music. I'm going to get back to this. And I'm going to show you things that you don't want to see with your eyes, but will have to see, and make you extremely uncomfortable with the things that you may have believed and things that you may have done, such that you won't ever do these things again. Because that's the kind of guy that I am.
Bang, bang, the bigger the back, the sticker is stacked on them trizaks. Coming to kick them physics for you players. About to lace your game tight, so pull up your chairs. And don't trip off the wannabes you're gonna see. Cause I'ma have it going on like the 15th first of the month. Strap with your blunt for your paper. Docked in the spot so you can taper. Another dose of major, or players in the game. It's a 94 thing, ain't a damn thing changed. And on them beats, man, you best to get with me. I'm act like myself, got to keep my game crispy. Tight, tighter than the tightest. Laying them tracks down, cause you know I got the finest. Skills in producing, cause I can't get loose in. And when it comes to macking, you know that I'll be stacking, so
Gang recognized game in the bang bang.
and you know it don't stop.
Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang.
We about to take it to the top.
Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang.
Astronomical, let's play some dominoes. You owe me money, but I know you got drama though. Gift of the gap for the tag that I'm taking. Coming up in this market and you know we bout to make 'em. Conspicuously, I got the gift to be the #1 Mac and not a cracker for the century. Cause I've been doing this for way too long. I goes on and on to the break of dawn. I got to get my props and chop off the tops and make sure it rocks and check all my wops. Independently is a friend of me. Give me all my money cause I ain't got time for splitting G. Macadocious cause I get ferocious. The #1 player is the one who gets the closest. How many tracks would it take for me to open up the dope for the GLP? Rack, Scourge, Demo, and them birds. The young baby boy saying Queen coming in perv. And the rest of the get low P coming in dope with that player JT cause
Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang.
why must I dust off these hits? Come with these strips, so let me check all these grits. Thick in rotation, I got to get my mail on. Coming around the corner, doing 100 about to swell on. Submission to the one and only most high. Never to try to scheme, you get trapped with the triple beam. So what's the difference in your distribution? Cause I can take it to another level and find a solution. Purping like a player, won't pay him cause you're popping. Got the undermined macking on your mind. You're chopping up the data because I got fatter. Step in my way, hear these lyrics rat-a-tatter. And now I'm posting in my studio. I was thinking about the time when I wanted to shoot this video. I was pumped, thought I wasn't. Got rushed by my cousin with a bigger budget. So now we on the way, headed for this payday. Maxin', lights, camera, action. And you know we gonna wreck it. So peep game from a player and chicky check it cause
Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. Gang recognized game in the bang bang. In the bang bang, in the bang bang.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to drown myself. You can try this at home.
That was JT the Bigger Figure. It was a
Two worlds, one.
notable, how do I call it? I guess it's GLP. Get Low Players. It was a notable Bay Area rap group from way the fuck back in the day. There's a different release that I played the YouTube video on. It's originally released in '94. It was JT the Bigger Figure, Game Recognized Game, featuring Mac Mall. On an album called Game Tight. I used to listen when I was a kid. It's just one of those songs that sticks with you. Nonetheless, so realities being what they are, my name is not Tommaso Giovanni, and I am not from Toronto. Again, Tommaso Giovanni di Toronto is very Italian. It's an Italian thing to say. And it sounds funny to me because I know exactly where the incorrection is, like the wrong thing. But it's funny. I didn't come up with that. I want to point that out right out of the gate. That just floated to me, and it made me laugh. But I can assure you that I've never once claimed to be from Toronto. I don't have any relationship with Toronto. I know people from there. I know people who have lived there. Apparently Drake's from there, and apparently The Weeknd is also from there, and Cloud Cult is also from there. I only listened to the first two. No disrespect intended. Nonetheless, I don't. Still makes me laugh, man. It's just funny. I just have one of those names. Again, my name translates to Italian in a weird way, and also into Spanish in a weird way. All the Romance languages, I assume, that have names that sound like the English names that mine are. Although I suppose... No, that's right. So, my name being what it is, it translates funny. So in the event that you have any reason to believe that a Tommaso Giovanni di Toronto is cloning my game and cloning the Nain logs, I assure you that is not what is occurring at the moment. And I would beseech you to unfuck yourselves should you have invested in such an idea with any significant amount of your intellectual, fiduciary, or societal resources. Because I'm not going to help you, man. I got other shit to worry about. I just told you what the hell I'm dealing with. Not my problem. Not my money. And until such a time as I am beseeched to do somebody a favor, I have no intention of doing so. I also probably won't do it anyways, because it would probably be illegal for me to do so. As I've told you, political asylum applicants. Carries with it a very, very, very significant political debt that I myself have to currently deal with and work to ensure remains exactly where it is. So, the student school teacher is out of the way. Tommaso Giovanni di Toronto is out of the way. What are the other ones? I'm sure there's some other ones. I mean, Halflock in and of itself is like a monstrous fucking holy fuck stain. There are a few different YouTubers and Twitch streamers who've also used the name. I've been using this name for this game. With my original PC account since 2015, 2016. I don't recall when it was that I purchased the game on Steam. I can look that up actually. So let's take a look at that. I think I just fell from very far. And Nain Incorporated as well is another one of those things that, for some strange reason, is placing itself in a very particularly obstructive place. Noor as well, which was the tags or the force and acronym, which I used at one point after switching over to Nova Sorta Severo. Is also one of those things where the real world has decided that it is going to be free to collapse distinctions between fiction and reality, and then demand that I have to deal with those fictions in reality, which I should probably point out is an unwise and ill-advised thing to do to a member of Navy intelligence, and a person who at one point was a member of Navy intelligence, who has a very particular set of responsibilities when it comes to discussing particular matters with particular people under particular conditions, which I've, owing to the realities that I've had to deal with, accepted the six and a half a dozen nature of some of the things that I've been forced to do at the point that I've done them. So, all of that out of the way. I have been using, let's see, Half-Lock has been on Steam since, or on Elite Dangerous rather, since I got that song stuff, man. Let's see, when was this purchase made? I've still got recognized game stuck in my head, man. Let's see. Gosh, there'll be so many. I have to find my Steam receipts. There it is. Let's see. Elite Dangerous. 26 should be somewhere in 2016 or 2015. So it's purchased on November 2015, or in November 2015. At which point I signed up as Half-Lock. I will look to see when I signed in for Elite Dangerous. That will be welcome to the Commander, or to Pilots Federation Commander. That would be January 2017, which is not right, actually, because, yeah, that's not right, because that would be after Johnny's death, for, like, frame reference. That might actually be my PlayStation registration, just in 2017. Also not correct. Maybe this is not right. Maybe this is not what this email is. Let's see. On January 7, 2017, I received an email from, it's one of the newsletters from Frontier, about enrolling in the Galactic Academy. I know that for a fact that that is incorrect, or that that isn't when I signed up, because I was at work at the hotel in San Bruno when I played the game the first time on mouse and key and decided that this is not for me, because mouse and key are not real things that people should be free to use in this video game. That's weird. I don't have a registration note about when I first signed up. So again, 2017 is after the death of my friend Johnny Diaz, who I've mentioned before. And because it was then, I can say that that's not the correct email because I logged in before then. Again, I forget the name of the commander who it is that I confronted with what I thought to be sufficient defensive capabilities at the time as a noob, coming right out of the Pilots Federation space area. But as it turns out, was not. For one, I was on mouse and key, and also nothing I can do to defend myself in a situation where the guy's got bigger guns than I do, and better skills at the game, which I assume he had at the time, because he blew me up pretty quickly, as I discussed in the introduction to the Nain box. Where's my car? I'm gonna go find that. Either way, it's some point in 2016. I can probably look it up and like find that receipt if I need to. nonetheless, I've been using that since about 2016 for this particular game. For those of you who met me early on, when I was playing in PlayStation, after putting this game down because I don't believe in mouse and key, I just don't. Sorry, guys. I was playing under a different handle as well, which I think is on my Frontier forums about page. It was not Half-Lock original. That was my original name in the PlayStation account as well. Or rather, that was the original name for the name box. When I first started, I was playing under a particular different name. It wasn't Half-Lock at the time. I switched that over to produce a, what do they call it, unity between my handles. Let's see. I wonder if I can find it. I'm wondering if that is particular to. On Steam, I've been playing under Half-Lock since changing it from GameStaple, which is what I picked up back in 2011. Back in 2011, I was living in Los Angeles, and I was hanging out with some old buddies of mine from San Francisco who had moved down there. Robert Cylinder is a comedian. Some of you in Los Angeles might know. Has a wife and a child, who I assume are awesome. His wife was very funny, and I enjoyed her company as well. And she was running a business which I spoke about with her quite a couple times, and never spoke to her about being game staple, by the way. But that is when I started using that name, way back in 2011, which I subsequently changed to Half-Life again to produce a form of unity within my gaming reality. Now, again, names being what they are, is not entirely out of the ordinary for people to be identified by different people by different names. For instance, sometimes people might call me Thestudis TJ when they see me in a photo. Want to know why? Because I've explained that. I've not only explained that in a very particular way, I've literally told you what it is that's going on. Other place to get it. Am I in my car yet? I am. I think I'm getting overly focused on this particular date, which I don't feel the need to do because this isn't like some weird lawsuit that I'm filing. Although we're not entirely free and clear on that matter yet. I'm still hearing game recognized game, man. It's ringing in my head. Is that catchy too? There's no way to look at that. Hold on. I'll be getting to you shortly. Whoever you are. Oh, there was a comment on the previous stream in like the streaming chat that I didn't get to. I'm not monitoring these things, unfortunately. I've only got a single monitor, and I don't have like a huge intention to make this into like a back and forth question and answer type thing. It's very weird. I'm gonna have to check my other Mac for like my Mac. Give me just a second. Um, all right. Well, according to Frontier Developments online store support, support at frontierstore.net. I've got an account confirmation via AmazonSES.com for January 7th, 2017, 5:35 a.m. Which again seems a little weird. It's January 7th, 2017. I would have already left the hotel and was working. Was not working. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. Also, the day after, 3 days after the inauguration. No, it's not after the inauguration. Yes, it is. After the inauguration of President Trump. Which doesn't make sense. I'm going to call shenanigans, cyber shenanigans, right now. To say there's something going on, or that I haven't received the email. That's just what I'm doing now. Calling that. That's something to take note of, by the way, if you're doing an investigation into what the situation is with me and my particular political asylum case. I hate to break it to everybody. So, this is one of the reasons, by the way, that I decided to make it clear that there is a very real political situation that I'm currently dealing with that has apparently now something, but nothing to do with what's going on in the Nain logs or in my gaming community here. Again, unless it does, at which point it's well out of my realm of expertise, because I do not have electronic warfare and hacking capabilities. Be good bearer of bad news. Boy, does that look weird. I'm going to take a break on that because
Quiet, please.
I'm going to take a break on that.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me. They won't leave in the night. I've no fear that they might desert me. Diamonds are forever.
Throw your diamonds in the sky if you feel the vibe. The rock is still alive every time I rhyme. Forever, ever, forever, ever, 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 ever.
people lose hands, legs, arms for real. Little was known of Sierra Leone and how it connect to the diamonds we own. When I speak of diamonds in this song, I ain't talking about the ones that be glown. I'm talking about Rockefeller, my home, my chain. These ain't conflict diamonds, is they, Jacob? Don't lie to me, man. See a part of me saying, keep shining. How? When I know what a blood diamonds. Though it's thousands of miles away, Sierra Leone connect to what we go through today. Over here, it's the drug trade. We die from drugs. Over there, they die from what we buy from drugs. The diamonds, the chains, the braces, the charms is. I thought my Jesus piece was so harmless. Till I seen a picture of a shorty armless. And here's the conflict. It's in a black person's soul to rock that gold. Spend your whole life trying to get that ice. On a polo rugby, you look so nice. How could something so wrong make me feel so right? Right? Before I beat myself up like Ike, you can still throw your Rockefeller diamond tonight. Because throw your diamonds in the sky if you feel the vibe. The rock is still alive every time I rhyme. Forever, ever, 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 ever. People asking me is I'm gonna give my chain back. That'll be the same day I give the game back. You know the next questions are, yo, where Dame at? This track the Indian dance to bring our rain back. What's up with you and Jay, man? Are y'all okay, man?
Yep, I got it from here, yay, damn. The chain remains, the gang is intact. The name is mine, I'll take blame for that. The pressure's on, but guess who ain't gonna crack? Pardon me, I had to laugh at that. How could you falter when you the rock with your balls? I had to get off the boat so I could walk on water. This ain't no tall order, this is nothing to me. Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. I do this in my sleep. I sell kilos of coke. I'm guessing I could sell CDs. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Let me handle my business, damn. Kanye's, you got me. Free Wade and Foxy. YG's, Pierre Marie. PD, watch me. Bleak could be one hit away his whole career. As long as I'm alive, he's a millionaire. And even if I die, he's in my will somewhere. So he could just kick back and chill somewhere. Oh yeah. He don't even have to write rhymes. The dynasty like my money lasts 3 lifetimes. Shelly Bass is in the rear saying exactly what I was saying. Practically my whole career. The diamond is fab, I've been mining this forever. Now the Louis Vuitton Don's coming, couldn't be better. People lined up to see the Titanic sinking. Instead we rose from the ash like a phoenix. If you're waiting for the end of the dynasty sign, it would seem like forever. It's a mighty long time. Young bitches. Good night.
Warning. Suit power loss imminent.
Anyway, so clearing my head of that. Also taking note of that. One has to wonder now. I'm not going to get into that now that I think about it. I'm going to go ahead and leave that unsaid. And again, make clear that I'm a political asylum applicant here in Italy. I'm American. So there are very particular realities having to do with playing an online MMO game. Or MMO, which is what they are. And being a member of Navy intelligence and now political asylum applicant that I have to confront. And I have to just deal with and handle. Apparently, in whatever way is going to be required to deal with, whatever that is going to entail. The odd matter with that email notwithstanding. Again, my name is Thomas John, as you may have surmised from a mistranslation of my name. It's my first and last name. I've seen Die Hard 2, so I'm not entirely unfamiliar with the need to prove my identity by providing the name of the street that I grew up on, and the hospital in which I was born, and the name of my first grade teacher. Nonetheless, I'm again essentially trying to make clear that what's going to happen is I'm going to continue to talk for a little bit again, and then when I'm done talking, you're going to cough up all the information that would be required for an amenable outcome of my political asylum case to be found. And whether or not it comes through your own collection of your wherewithal, or it comes from the assertion of rights to claims, and exertion of extreme pressures upon you to cough up that information by those who have a vested interest in me being who I was at any given point in time. I assure you this is not personal, that you will have to cough up this information, and that it is indeed strictly business. So, businesses being what they are, I've tried to make clear on innumerable occasions that I play this game because I enjoy the game, and I wrote the story because I enjoy the game. At a certain point, when I ended the Nain log, as a matter of fact, I made clear that the reason I was ending the story and not going to play the game for a little bit was due to the reality of what it is that was occurring with me in Sorrento at the time, which was that I was a political asylum applicant who was sitting in a very, very public place. Without getting into the reasons for why that occurred, that is indeed what occurred. And there are those who I introduced myself to while there, who I spoke with about being a political asylum applicant, without getting too deeply into the details. And hello to all of you. And the Nain logs at some point began to veer towards that direction of being a particularly political vehicle, which I have no intention for it to be. It's an entertainment vehicle. For those of you who remember, I was cracking jokes about the possibility of a TV show in which I would hire some of my old professors from the new school as advisors to produce a television show from this, in which we could actually explore some of those ideas. And I could hire some of my former Navy, what do they call them, colleagues to advise us on how better to make an awesome spy television show. This was right before the third year of the Nain logs, if you recall those jokes. That clearly hasn't come to pass, because I was not a political asylum applicant. I was just floating around the East Coast after leaving San Francisco because of conditions that were produced by the combination of my being a Navy intelligence specialist and a person of interest to a group of heretofore, up to this point, unnamed political researchers. Boy, that tastes like good coffee. Hard to say with any certainty how good that coffee is going to be when it is finally brewed.
Battery low.
So the conditions that I was dealing with made the exploration of the ideas that I was trying to explore. Not so much with the spy stuff and like the intellectual stuff and the identities and political subjectives things that I briefly discussed as like a sort of an offshoot musing of what I was interested in, as much as like the characters themselves. As you can see from Zero Core, they're still here, and they are now NPCs. The ideas that I was hoping to look into are no longer at the forefront of my mind, fortunately or unfortunately. My headphones are about to die, and my mic is going to die soon as well. So I'll be cutting the stream short, and I will continue to play after the stream is over. The realities of being a political asylum applicant are far different for me than they are for others. That's not to say that mine is any easier or any less easy than others, because mine is a very particular one. Not necessarily involving the fleeing of a war or conditions that are inescapably out of government's control. That being what they are, I don't not believe that I'm in need of asylum. I don't not believe that I'm in need of political protection. Whether or not that is best served here in the EU is up to your own governments. And as I mentioned before, I highly advise that you look into the topics of migration, legal and illegal, refugees, and politics in general, and borderhood and statehood. Because one, that's a very interesting topic. It's not a STEM science, unfortunately. And in America, we've invested heavily into STEM research. Socially is what I mean. Socially and culturally. But it's far more important than it gets credit for. Because I wouldn't be here seeking political asylum if the sciences of the politics and the sciences of the political were anywhere near where they would need to be to produce amenable conditions for citizens worldwide. So, I'm going to continue to explore Jorah and Juno as characters. I'm going to find out who they are. I'm going to keep playing Elite Dangerous, and I'm going to find out what the situation is with my political asylum application. I'm probably going to find out what the fuck's going on with that email as well, because that's weird. It's suspicious. to say the least. So if you get the chance, go ahead and look into those. Go ahead and go to New Orleans in Louisiana. Uh, I've heard good things about Louisiana and New Orleans. Um, that's where Nine Inch Nails currently bases themselves, from what I've been told. Also, they've got a great deal of music out there that I enjoy. And it's also where Filipinos made their first real presence in the United States as the Manila Man. That's what they were called back then. Never been there. Never been to New Orleans. Nor to Louisiana, which is codified as LA. Um, in the state acronym and state initial lexicon. I hope that when you take this in, you understand something very clear, which is that I'm very, very serious about this particular matter. And I'm very, very serious about my response to the realities that I have to deal with under these particular matters. And that you, as a gamer who I have to interact with, have one responsibility to me, which is to be a better leader in the sense that you and I, as gamers, know I'm referring to, which is being as dumb as possible about in-game stuff, while not making a particularly damaging or particularly obstructive presence with regard to the collapsing of the distance between what's going on in the gaming world and in the gaming community with the realities of my particular situation. That's not a job that you can do very easily. I don't think it's anyone's. Um, I don't think it's something that anyone can do on their own. But I do think that it helps uh, if you bear in mind, one, again, that my name is not the Studio Skier TJ, nor is it Tommaso Giovanni from Toronto. Uh, that would go a long way to helping you, as a matter of fact, figure out sort of the best way to approach how to deal with gamers and what their realities are. The whole privacy debate and transparency debate that I've discussed recently on a previous stream still exists. These are all interrelated matters at this point, unfortunately. And that unfortunate reality and nexus between the privacy and transparency debate and my particular political asylum case and my particular political research background and political studies background and my being a former Navy intelligence specialist really takes hold. And if I were you, I would avoid that like the plague. Or like COVID. I'd avoid it like COVID if I were you. Yeah, massive social distancing. Probably in your best interest. Beyond that, I wish you a good day. I'm going to play this game because I started talking and then got lost in another stream of thought that had nothing to do with what my original intention was. Owing to a very strange phenomena that I had not yet been informed about, nor had any reason to believe existed. So, 07 commanders, let's have a war.